From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
The benefits of conservation.
It's been very beneficial.
How it's helping some producers win the war on weeds. The future of biofuels.
Biofuels will be a part of the solution for climate change and lowering the prices of that we're seeing at the pump.
The EPA administrator tackles the tough questions surrounding the renewable fuel standards and those small refinery exemptions. Plus, the meat industry takes center stage on Capitol Hill.
We're at a moment in time. However, neither of the bills being discussed today represent the right approach to these issues.
Producers in the West try to recover from devastating wildfires.
We've worked so hard on our farm to make it what it was, and it's just in minutes, just gone, just absolutely gone.
We're following it all right now on AgDay. Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths coming to you from our Farm Journal studios in Kansas City. We're here with the editors and writers of Farm Journal looking into all of the big issues in rural America. And happening right now, wildfires are raging across multiple states. You see the main ones on this map, including New Mexico, where a state of emergency has been declared, as well as Arizona, Colorado, and Texas. Cole Higgins has a look at the aftermath of recent wildfires of farmers in Nebraska.
In Nebraska, a retired fire chief died while helping battle flames scorching the southwest part of the state. Now, Nebraska families are sifting through the ashy ruins of what was once their homes.
It just happened so fast. I had to choose between saving the dogs and saving my kid. That's what it came down to.
Flames destroying nearly everything they had.
I mean, we've worked so hard on our farm to make it what it was, and it's just in minutes, just gone. Just absolutely gone.
We sat there and pretty much watched it burn for what we could see through all the wind and smoke and dirt.
In Colorado, flames fueled by fierce winds scorching the earth, threatening one family's ranch and taking the lives of some of their livestock. They say the flames could have been deadlier if they didn't have some help from their neighbors.
They literally saved hundreds of animals' lives at the risk of losing their own lives.
I'm Cole Higgins reporting.
And those high winds are continuing to whip up wildfires. USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey tells us some of the blame for the high winds can be attributed to the La Nina weather pattern. He referred to this La Nina-driven storm track from over the weekend as one example. Now, the storm generated considerable wind in the southwest and throughout the Great Plains. In drought-affected areas, it has led to blowing dust, fast-spreading wildfires, and continues to further impact the wheat crop. Meteorologist Matt Yurosavik joins us, and Matt, the severe fire threat continues.
Yeah, Clinton, that is right. We've got another fire danger back in the southwest, and that comes behind a dry line, which is also going to bring us more storms off to the east of that. But here's that kind of severe fire area where we've got it from parts of Arizona, from Flagstaff to the west of Phoenix, and then down toward Tucson, over toward El Paso and Albuquerque, kind of right there between New Mexico and Arizona. Again, for today, gusty winds and very dry air could help to maximize that fire danger. Then as we look off to the east, here comes that dry line moving out into parts of eastern New Mexico, parts of Texas by the evening. We'll get some thunderstorms firing along that dry line and just ahead of it, and that could create some stronger thunderstorms, which could bring the threat for some hail, heavy rain, lightning, gusty winds, and even the chance for an isolated tornado. So that threat there in Amarillo, Texas, back up into Kansas and parts of New Mexico on Wednesday. An isolated supercell, though, can't be ruled out in parts of Texas, Oklahoma, and eastern Kansas as we head into Thursday. And then that severe threat will move even farther east as we head into the day on Friday, and we'll keep you updated on that. And we're getting a better look at the situation in North Dakota after melting snow and heavy rains caused flash flooding. Tim in Larimore sharing this photo. He says it will be a couple of days until they can get in the field. He says the good news is the tile is starting to run. I'll have more on your forecast coming up.
Later today, the beef industry will once again be in the hot seat as the House Ag Committee holds a hearing on cattle markets, with the big four beef packers taking center stage. Now on Tuesday, the Senate Ag Committee took up two proposals. The first, the Cattle Price Discovery and Transparency Act of 2022. The other, the Meat and Poultry Special Investigator Act of 2022. Under the Price Discovery Act, which has bipartisan support, there would be a requirement for minimum purchase levels by packers. It would also establish up to 7 regions where minimum levels of fed cattle buys must be made through approved pricing. But as we have reported, a recent study by Texas A&M University found the latest version of the bill would cost producers even more than an earlier estimate of $112 million over 5 years. And it says the mandate would have regional disparities.
The costs to cattle producers are not all borne equally. Some regions will be more heavily impacted than others. Nearly 90% of the economic costs of this bill are estimated to be borne by farmers in Kansas, Southern Plains, including Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico.
We need some sunlight. We need some sideboards. There will people that will say these bills do too much. There are people that say these bills do too little. I can guarantee you one thing. If we walk out of here today and we don't pass these bills, we will see the same result that we've seen for the last 100 years. And in the end, our food security is put at risk.
Having participated in both the KLA and NCBA policy process, I can tell you those members overwhelmingly believe cattle producers should have the opportunity to market their cattle how they see fit without arbitrary limitations imposed by the federal government.
The biggest problem is, without a cash value, they have put the independent feed yards out of business. And I have no way of knowing, that's where I got bids for all my life in the cattle business, and I'm here telling you what I've experienced. And I got good bids from those. I felt comfortable with them. A fair market value is what a willing seller will pay and what a willing buyer will take for it. The part we always forget is when they're not under duress. Well, name me a person now that's selling cattle in this complex we have now that's not under duress, a producer side. I always feel that. So I don't feel like I get a fair price.
The North American Meat Institute is urging members of the Senate Ag Committee to reject the bill's mandates. Meat Institute President and CEO Julianne Potts saying, quote, "Due to a shrinking herd and sustained consumer demand, cattle prices are at 7-year highs without federal intervention in the market," end quote. EPA Administrator Michael Regan continuing the Building a Better America Rural Infrastructure Tour, the tour highlighting the bipartisan infrastructure law. Now on Tuesday, he visited Franklin County, North Carolina with Ag Secretary Tom Vilsack, where they checked out upgrades being made to a rural wastewater treatment plant due to funding from EPA. Now before heading there, the administrator talked with AgriTalk's Chip Flory. Now, Chip asking Regan about the renewable fuel standard and a plan by EPA to deny all pending small refinery exemptions.
We're still looking at that decision, and I believe that we need to be on course to grow biofuels in this country. And so when we look at some of these exemptions, it's our opinion and it's the court's opinion that these exemptions have not been done appropriately in the past, and we look forward to making the right calls as we move forward.
Regan says the EPA does plan to still set RFS levels by the June 3rd deadline that was set by a court decision. He says the agency wants to provide certainty and rebuild the foundation of the program. More commercial flocks have been confirmed as having a deadly bird flu. USDA's Animal and Plant Inspection Service confirmed highly pathogenic avian influenza in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and 3 separate cases involving thousands of birds in Minnesota. USDA says in total, 155 commercial flocks have now been infected. It also says HPAI has a slight impact on egg prices. They increased by almost 2% last month. That follows a 2.2% increase in February. USDA now sees egg prices rising 6 to 7% this year. Up next, a closer look at winter wheat conditions and the challenges ahead for spring planting. And later, if you love travel and tacos, we've got the perfect job for you. We'll tell you all about it today in the country.
It's time to sign up for the 2022 United Pork Americas Conference in Orlando, Florida. Register today at unitedporkamericas.com and join us September 7th through the 9th.
The country's winter wheat crop is rated just 27% good to excellent here in the U.S. That's 3 points worse than last week and now 22 points behind last year at this time. Meanwhile, in Texas, 78% of the crop is poor to very poor. While in Oklahoma, about half of the crop is rated poor to very poor. The Oklahoma Wheat Commission met farmers and Oklahoma State Extension specialists at a field day in southern Oklahoma on Monday. They say some parts of the state look pretty good, while others are struggling under the weight of drought, high winds, and extreme temperature swings.
We have some parts of the state that producers are trying to make a crop, maybe hoping to have 20, 30 bushel wheat. We have some parts of the state that producers have already gave up that crop. And so it's a very, very variable year.
Extreme drought conditions across the state have really made it a challenge for producers. And we are certainly seeing a lot of damage with drought now, specifically in parts of northwest, central, western regions, and extremely terrible drought conditions also in the panhandle on the dryland wheat.
Schulte says if we can get some moisture soon, it could help the crop, but he thinks ultimately production will look similar to 2006 or 2011. Joining us today, we have Darren Fry with Water Street Solutions. Darren, as we kind of start to look at this big picture here and look at overall grains, spring wheat prices have been pretty fantastic. We expect better acres this year. I guess the question is, what does the spring look like up there as we try to get some of these acres in?
Well, as you know, they continue to have these storms that pass through, and they're dumping moisture recently in the form of snow, and it's just really cold, and that weather pattern is fairly persistent and looks like it's going to be pushing well into the first week or beyond of May. And I think it's important to understand that spring wheat usually is about half planted by May 10th. And if you take a look at Montana, North Dakota, and Minnesota, where this storm path continues to plague them, they plant 75% of that. So if they get too late to plant that, will that go to corn? I doubt it, not with high fertilizer prices, not with their growing conditions up there and the lateness of planting. So it'll probably go to soybeans, sunflowers, or canola, something like that. And so it really puts into question whether corn will get the acres it needs, as we're running a little bit behind in the Midwest, really in the eastern part of the Midwest. We're not getting an early start around here either.
You know, we've been talking about the Black Sea region and some of the challenges of getting wheat out of that part of the world. If we struggle with spring wheat, that has to lend itself to some bullish news for spring wheat as well.
Yeah, it really does. And you see the new crop contracts of spring wheat trying to continue to move higher to try to garner those acres and keep those acres. But then, you know, you combine that with a hard red winter wheat class, and wow, with the drought out west and these winds that they've been receiving, I mean, conditions continue to worsen out there. And I really think we got the making of a better wheat market here, higher prices, in the near future. This is a strong seasonal for down until we get past June, July, and then turn the seasonal up again. But I just don't think breaks will be very big or severe during this time, just because of how many bullish fundamentals are really out here.
Yeah, so many factors out there. Appreciate it, Darren. Thank you so much. We'll be back with more AgDay coming up in just a minute.
For marketing strategy specific to your operation, contact Water Street Solutions at 866-249-2528 or online at www.waterstreet.org. Your next piece of equipment is on MachineryPete.com. Search equipment from dealerships across the country to find what you're looking for. Only on MachineryPete.com.
Meteorologist Matt Yurosavik joins us, and Matt, more rain is on the way for areas where planting hasn't really even started yet.
Yeah, Clinton, that's right. We've got more thunderstorms for parts of the south, but also more heavy rain coming to parts of the Midwest who have kind of been lagging behind with planting already. We've had some bursts of colder air, and now more rain. And here, though, this is our severe thunderstorm risk as we head through today from Hays, Kansas, all the way down through parts of Oklahoma, extreme western portions of Oklahoma, near Amarillo and back towards the north and west of Lubbock into extreme eastern portions of New Mexico. So this is the area out ahead of that dry line, which we could be seeing some discrete supercells popping up as we head through today. That threat moves eastward as we head through Thursday, Wichita down to Oklahoma City, just back to the west of there, and then to the west of Wichita Falls as well, all the way down into northern portions of Texas. So that's the area to focus on for the next couple of days. That will continue to move eastward, though, as we head into Friday. So here's a look at the surface map today. System off the east coast bringing in the cooler air to the Great Lakes, but also swiping off any thunderstorm chances down into southern Florida. High pressure in control over the south, keeping it very warm, very nice and sunny. But then back to the west, we're going to be dealing with some higher elevation snow and a few of those lighter rain showers. By the evening, though, here's that dry line starting to pop up. We get those shower and thunderstorm chances. They continue into the overnight, diminish just a little bit, but that dry line's not going anywhere. It's going to remain a key factor as we head into Thursday evening, where we'll see more thunderstorms popping up east of where they did. And then here comes some of that rain starting to break out across the upper Midwest on Thursday evening. That will continue into Friday and into the weekend, while high pressure in control of the south. Here's a look at what that looks like. More rain again coming for the north and into the Midwest, where planting kind of behind, and it's going to remain that way with more rain on the way. Temperatures warm out ahead of this system, meanwhile pushing all that cooler air eastward as we head into tomorrow morning, and by tomorrow afternoon, 80s and 90s returning to Texas and parts of Oklahoma, with still drier air back to the west. That's a look around the country. Now let's take a look at the weather where you live. Jamestown, New York, rain and snow showers likely, a high of 37 degrees. Beaver, Oklahoma, sunny for most of the day, breezy with afternoon thunderstorms, a high of 86, and a high of 65 in Gray Bull, Wyoming, mostly cloudy with an evening storm.
AgDay is brought to you by Authority Supreme Herbicide from FMC. Learn more at ag.fmc.com.
The National Corn Growers Association laid out specific environmental efficiency goals last summer aimed at enhancing corn production sustainability. And as Farm Journal's Tyne Morgan tells us, those seeing success in conservation have also noticed benefits with weed control.
As planting gets underway for more farmers across the U.S., improving production practices continues to be top of mind.
Helps with the expenses for farmers to experiment with cover crops, and it's been very beneficial.
Mike Bias farms in Indiana and says cover crops have helped improve efficiency on his farm. The other benefit Bias has seen is with weed control, something seed corn growers in Iowa have also witnessed.
I think that cover crops, and especially when you look at like a really good establishment of cereal rye in the fall, can really have an impact on weed control.
Shannon Mohler is project coordinator for the Iowa Seed Corn Cover Crops Initiative.
As we run into various issues with different herbicides that are being used, and we see, different resistances coming in, I think that, in the long run, to be able to be productive with corn and soy and other commodity crops.
The program was started in 2016 through a grant from the Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship.
It was estimated that about 5% of Iowa's seed corn acres had cover crops on them, and now we estimate that to be over 50%. And we know just through our project alone, we are helping cost share on about a third of those total seed corn acres in the state.
While cover crop growth has been monumental in some areas, the production practice is still met with skepticism by some growers.
If you're using cover crops, you change your whole philosophy of how you're planting and things like that. So that has to be a mindset for somebody to accept the change.
From environmental to social impacts, even seed companies are working to uncover more solutions when it comes to conservation.
So I'd say the social aspect with cover crops ultimately is that we're improving water quality.
All right, thanks, Tyne. Now, if you love tacos, we have the perfect job. A trip to Texas and details for employment next. Would you like to get paid to eat tacos? Yep, there's now a job available that allows you to do just that. There's an opening for a chief taco officer for Favor Deliveries. It's an on-demand delivery service in Texas. Now, whoever gets the job will get paid $10,000 to travel around the Lone Star State this summer, taste testing tacos and telling people all about it. Besides getting to eat lots of tacos, job perks include free accommodations and transportation to each city. There's also massages and yoga classes, plus free Favor delivery for a year. Now, you have to live in Texas to apply and be at least 21 years old. To apply, send in a short video to Favor Delivery explaining why you're perfect for the gig. And that's all the time we have this morning. Thanks for watching. For all of us here at AgDay, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day.